Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, hello and welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to properly remove a GelX set. This one has been on for 3 weeks and I did significantly cut down the cuticle area of the middle finger here because there was a crack. If there's any cracks in your nail plate, like the natural nail, please do not follow this method. It will burn you, but I'll have tips and tricks on how to fix that. So let's go ahead and get started with our prep. Before we do anything, I wanted to show you everything that you'll need. So you are going to need 100% pure acetone. It doesn't matter the brand, it just matters that it's 100%. You are going to need a cuticle oil. It doesn't have to be this one. It can be any cuticle oil at all. You can also use petroleum jelly. Next, you're going to want to make sure that you have these foils here to actually remove. If you don't have these foils that have like the little cotton square built into them, that's totally fine. You can also use cotton balls, like the little circles, and nail clips, or even just regular foil to wrap too. And then you are going to want to have some bits for your file if you're using an e-file. This one is a tornado bit and it's a 3x coarse. If you don't have that nail bit though, you can also use a ceramic coarse bit. You just want to make sure it has teeth that are hard enough that it's going to take down all gel polish and any of the bulk of the GelX nail itself. Cuticle nippers are also going to be needed if you have any rhinestones that you want to take off. And then I use these little disposable buffers. So one side is coarse, this side here is going to be softer, and I'm only going to use the softer side just to go over if I have any remaining gel stuck to the natural nail palette. I do recommend for you to use an e-file. One, it's going to significantly save you time, but additionally it's just going to make things a whole lot easier to take everything down. If you don't have an electric file though, you can also use a hand file. You are going to want to use something that's at least 100 grit. I believe this one's 180, so I would use that. It's just going to be a little bit harder to get into the cuticle area. And then lastly, I recommend that you have a dust collector. It definitely doesn't have to be like Valentino or anything super expensive, but just something strong enough that it sucks the air in when you put a paper towel over it. So first thing I do is like to remove any of the chunky charms. So Mr. Teddy here has definitely got to go. You're going to remove those first. You can use cuticle nippers, or they do sell like actual rhinestone kind of nippers that are a little bit bigger. You also want to go in and cut any of the excess length, so that way you're not having to spend extra time filing down product that's not needed. After you've done that, you're going to go ahead and go in with that tornado bit or any bit that you've chosen to take down the bulk of the nail. So we'll do this and we're going to take down everything that's on top and try to get as close to the natural nail plate without actually touching it as possible. Here is where you want to be really careful. As you've seen there, I got a little bit close and it got really hot. So you constantly want to be moving and making sure to apply as little pressure as possible. If you find yourself having to press down really hard, then the e-file is probably not high enough. So then you're going to want to adjust your speed accordingly. Now, when it comes to speed recommendations, I try not to give those because it really depends on your drill. It depends on the medium that you used, whether it's gel or acrylic, and then also how sharp the teeth are. The important part is just being extremely safe, and this is what it will look like once you're really close. As you can see, we didn't get rid of all the gel, but we're going to go ahead and prep our alcohol pads here, or our little aluminum wraps. And this is going to be the actual soak off process. I do like to separate them ahead of time, and then I will take my cuticle oil, or you can also use like petroleum jelly. You're going to want to rub that right around all of the cuticle area and really lather it on. So don't be super shy here. You want to make sure that your cuticles are not like torn down from doing soak offs If you have a client with really sensitive skin, same thing, and I probably would go with the petroleum because it's a bit thicker. But just make sure that you are coating absolutely everywhere that you can that the acetone may touch, because we definitely don't want to dry out that cuticle line there. It's really, really sensitive skin. So once I have that done, these are separated. This is just my preference because it's easier to grab them when they're not like right on top of each other. And we're just going to go in with our pure acetone. You're going to take them and only put like enough to fill the little cotton ball. So that there that you can see is wet enough. You don't necessarily want to go in like this and do a second time, because as you can see, it's running. So when you actually put that on, now you have acetone leaking everywhere. So just enough to coat the pad, like saturate the pad without it leaking. And then when I do it on myself, of course, I turn my nail side down so it's easier, and then pinch it on top to add additional like pressure up there, and really hold that cotton pad down. When it's a customer, you can also do a soak off inside of one of those dishes, but for me that gets a little bit messy, so I prefer to do it this way. And once we are all done with that, we are going to go in with our cuticle pusher to remove the excess gel. Now, if you don't have one of those, they do sell these tools here, which are actually made to remove gel and actually like scrape it off. And I'll show you how to use both of the tools. You are going to want to start off with the finger that you first wrapped. So for me, that's going to be my pinky. Using this first tool here, I'm going to show you how you can actually scrape off. If you have soaked for at least 15 minutes, this is what it will look like. It will be super easy and it'll kind of just flake off easily. If you don't get everything the first time, that's totally fine. You can always adjust and soak longer next time, or you can go in with a fine sanding band, just depending how much gel is left. So on here, you can see it pretty much removed everything. I am going to use the opposite side here just to make sure that I'm removing any excess product from around the cuticle line as well. We definitely don't want to skip that step because sometimes the gel can be a little bit underneath, or the acetone itself can actually dry out that cuticle area and leave excess skin behind. So you want to just go in and lightly go around just to make sure we're lifting everything up that we can. So onto our ring finger, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and speed this up, but this is if you're using the cuticle pusher. Personally, I like this method a little bit easier. I just find that using the pressure of the cuticle pusher itself, and because it's wider, it's just a little bit faster. You're also gonna still use the opposite side there and get everything off of the nail plate, including at the free edge. And then this is what it should look like. Just gonna speed through doing the rest of these nails, but still on camera so you can see exactly how I do them. Then drop them drawers. I know what you are. I ask myself, is this shit real? I contemplate about how I feel, but you make it way too hard to think that this could be what you love. Next, we're going to go ahead and go in with the fine side of our small buffing block. So you are going to want to do this for two reasons. First, of course, is the obvious reason of removing any excess gel that didn't come up with scraping. But secondly, we want to buff the surface gently, and that's going to get ready for either a new set to be put on without causing any additional damage to the natural nail plate, or just cleanse the entire nail so that you can just put like a top coat and be done and just kind of rock that natural nail look. It really depends, and gel honestly will grow out your natural nails if you take care of them, so I highly suggest not skipping this step. I do it absolutely anytime that I soak off my nails, or if I'm doing a soak off for a client. Depending on what you're going to be doing next, for right now and for this video purpose, I'm actually going to cut down the growth that has happened underneath the gel set. Again, the set was on for about 3 weeks or so, so there's not too much growth, but definitely wanted it to look a lot cleaner so I can show you. So what I did was just used my natural nail clippers. These ones are the ones that are just a little bit curved. I am also going to just file or buff the free edge so that way there are no like harsh edges at all. Then we're going to take our stainless steel implements and pop those in some barbicide so that they're cleansed. And since we used one of these dental bibs, we'll roll that up and throw it away. I am next going to go in with my cuticle pusher and lightly push back those cuticles. We definitely want to make sure that we are taking very special care of that area. Since it was just soaked in acetone, it can be a little bit more sensitive. So you just want to do this really gently. And after pushing back the cuticles, we're just going to go in with one of these small cuticle balls. This is a fine grit and it's going to be really soft. All we're going to do is go right around to lift up any of the cuticle growth that may still be attached to the natural nail. Additionally, I did go in with this little cuticle nipper just to make sure to remove all the cuticle skin. So some of it I noticed wasn't coming up with the ball bit, so I went in afterwards and just clipped that. And this is where we're at now. The actual nail plate itself is already cleansed and the cuticle is pushed back, so you don't have to use this. I just like to use it because it's convenient and it came with one of my drill bit sets. But I'll use this to go in and clean up any debris. If you don't have this bit, totally fine. Like I said, this is super extra, but I like to use it. You can also just use a regular nail brush. It does have to be like medium to like, I guess, firm. You don't want it to be super soft because you really want to get in to clean up all the excess debris and then anything that was removed when you filed. So once you're done with that step, I like to go back in with cuticle oil because the acetone pretty much ate most of it away, and you really want to be generous again. Make sure that you're putting it not only on the skin, but you're also putting it onto the nail. Since we have filed it, we have buffed it, and we have also soaked it in acetone. If you are going to be doing a new set though, you would skip this step and pretty much stop at the last one. So just clean off all the debris, wipe it down, or use a nail brush, and then of course go in with your dehydrator and primer and start the application process. I do want to mention the second method for removing nails as well, and that was if you had a chip or a cut in a nail and you noticed underneath your actual natural nail bed is cut into. You're not going to do the soaking in the acetone. You can still do every other step, but when it comes to soaking the nails, you are going to just soak them inside of really warm water, at least as hot as you can take it. Put some Dawn dish soap, just the original blue bottle, like platinum Dawn dish soap, and some oil of your choice. So it doesn't have to be cuticle oil. It can be like coconut oil, olive oil, jojoba oil, any kind of oil that you want. And instead of soaking for 15 minutes, unfortunately, you are going to have to soak for about 30 minutes. It's a lot less harsh. It's not going to burn you, but it is going to lift GelX. I hope I was able to help out. And if you have any questions, definitely leave them below. But this is what the final process will look like, or the last step, once everything is completed and our cuticle oil is now rubbed in. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye. Say hasta luego. Muy bien, rapping kilo.